November 22, 1963, is a day not easily forgotten. Even now, countless millions of people can recall what they were doing on the day President John F. Kennedy was shot. It was a bright, clear and almost summer-like day in Dallas. The sky above the Texas School Book Depository was free from clouds. There could be no better day for a parade to welcome the president, and yet, within seconds, several bullets had struck the presidential limousine at Dealey Plaza, and history was changed forever. Despite the suppression of vast amounts of evidence and the best attempts of the Warren Commission in the aftermath of the assassination to promote the idea that JFK was killed by Lee Harvey Oswald acting alone, 73% of Americans believe that their president was the victim of a conspiracy. It's a view that is backed up by the report of the Select Committee on Assassinations of the House of Representatives, which stated, "The committee believes, on the basis of the evidence available to it, that President John F. Kennedy was assassinated as the result of a conspiracy." A close look at the assassination of JFK produces convincing evidence that Oswald was not acting alone and that a cover-up at the highest levels is still in operation. It becomes more a question of who was behind the conspiracy than whether it was actually a conspiracy at all. President Kennedy's brain went missing under mysterious circumstances a number of years ago. This is highly suspicious and also very convenient, as modern scientific tests cannot now be carried out to establish the trajectory of the fatal bullets. Lone gunman? Despite the official government opinion that the president was killed by a single shot, there were 7 wounds found on JFK and on Governor Connally, one of the other passengers in the car. The angles and trajectories of the wounds make a single gunman fairly unfeasible. Lee Harvey Oswald, who was arrested for the murder, was himself assassinated before he could be brought to trial. Single bullet. One thing that swings it in the favor of the conspiracy theories is the impossibility of the single bullet theory, accepted by the Warren Commission. It claimed that the one shot Oswald took from a 6th-floor window entered Kennedy's back, yet rose and flew out of his neck, altering its trajectory to cause the 7 wounds found in Kennedy and Governor Connally, in the seat ahead of the president's. Room for all. The legendary grassy knoll from where the second gunman was supposed to have shot Kennedy would have been so busy that surely someone would have spotted the 30 or so gunmen that would have to have been there to account for all the proposed conspiracy theories. However, this could be a case of no smoke without fire. The main suspects. The CIA. Kennedy was about to disband the CIA due to its corruption, its inability to oust Castro from Cuba, and its general hostility to him since the Bay of Pigs debacle. It is alleged that, in self-defense, the CIA plotted with the Mafia and FBI to kill Kennedy and frame a former double agent, Oswald, as the killer. Cuban communists, KGB Fidel Castro and his KGB allies were still smarting from Kennedy's victory in the Cuban Missile Crisis. As revenge, they plotted his murder. Their involvement in his death was discovered by the CIA and FBI, who had to cover it up to prevent a public outrage that could have led to a World War III. Mafia JFK and his Attorney General brother, Robert Kennedy, were close to winning their crusade against organized crime. Attempts to blackmail Kennedy over his adultery had failed, so the Mafia decided to have him rub bed out. It is known that Oswald had connections to Mafia members. Just why did small-time Dallas mobster Jack Ruby so conveniently shoot Oswald? Military-industrial complex. Kennedy had plans to pull out of Vietnam. This obviously angered the military-industrial complex, which thrives on war. Were connections in the shadowy worlds of the Secret Service and Mafia used to conduct a coup and place Vice President Johnson in the White House? Interestingly, just 4 days after JFK's assassination, Johnson sent more troops to Vietnam, completely ignoring JFK's recommendations. Or could it have been? The Canadian Liberal Party. Over recent years, evidence has emerged linking prominent Mafia Captain Lucien Rivard to both Jack Ruby and the Liberal Party of Canada. Rivard is also linked to Oswald's recorded time in Montreal, when the Mafia man was jailed in 1964 to await extradition to the U.S. Officers of the Canadian Justice Department and members of the ruling Liberal Party offered bribes to the American lawyers to try and secure his release. Despite the lack of motive, this has been enough for some people to suggest that the true answer to the conspiracy to assassinate JFK will be found in Canada. Jackie Kennedy. The wildest and most discredited conspiracy theory surrounding the assassination is that Jackie Kennedy, sickened by her husband's continuous adultery, arranged for the mafia to wipe him out and spare her the public humiliation of a divorce. It becomes more a question of WHO was behind the conspiracy than whether it was actually a conspiracy at all.